Enjoy Sonne. Welcome to the School of Violin Artistry. In this video, we're going to study one of my very favorite teaching pieces, the Air Varie No. 1 by Charles Dancla. Dancla was one of the great line of violinist composers, which began with Corelli and Vivaldi, and continued on to Paganini and Wieniawski and Fritz Kreisler and Mark O'Connor. Their music embodies their great feeling for the violin. It seems to put your hands in the right place and draw out great new sounds from the instrument. The music is in the style of the Italian opera of the early 19th century, the style of Rossini and Donizetti. It's lusciously and irresistibly singing. This was the music which inspired Paganini and Chopin. This piece also develops musical concepts and violinistic techniques in a way that is intuitive and painless because the music itself is so understandable and enjoyable. Let's start by establishing the sound of the opening. I'm just playing half notes in the tempo of the piece. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm using probably 80% of the bow length. I'm starting the bow about here, a little past the end of the winding, and I'm going all the way to the tip, gauging the speed of the bow so that it travels evenly. Let the instrument ring. This is one of our best notes. Now, let's plug this bow stroke right into the first phrase. Keep the bow moving. Feel how the flow and sweep of the music comes from the flow and sweep of your bow arm. Pay attention to the phrase endings. The last note should taper off, and it should be long. Don't cut it short or accent it like this. The 16th note needs to be precise. 1, 2, 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. And it needs to be legato. This is part of the style. Don't separate it like this. And don't turn it into an 8th note like this. 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1. The 16th note always leads to the next note like this. We can even emphasize it a little like this. Continuing on. We need to maintain the quality of everything we established at the beginning. The beautiful unforced legato, the 80% bow length. Don't let it turn into 50%. The rhythmic precision of the 16th notes, combined with the singing quality. I like to make these little melodic connections with a little nuance. Make it cry a little. Like an Italian opera singer, listen to Pavarotti for the ultimate in that style. I have a harmonic marked in my edition. And then continuing on the E string. If we're going to use that fingering, we need to understand the sense of it. In an opera aria, The phrasing is integrated with the words, perhaps like this. And I long to go home back to you, dear, but now I'm so very unhappy. So, it's a spoken gesture. There's drama in that little breath. But now, if the timing is right and the shaping of the tone is right. In this next phrase, you can start counting triplets from the beginning of the measure. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1. Now, I'm creeping from first position to second. And then to third. The distance from C sharp to B flat is like a whole step. Here's the whole passage. This is the high point of this whole section. For a lot of students, it's also their first venture into fifth position, or one of their first ventures. In any case, you need to be sure of what it's supposed to sound like. So, you can start out with a practice fingering. Staying in third position and playing the high E with a harmonic. Then you can use the real fingering. Once you can find the notes, you can start paying attention to the tone quality. It's got to be gorgeous. You can practice it like this. I'm repeating each note several times to establish the sound of each note. Meanwhile, I'm becoming very sensitive to the bow pressure and the sounding point. As we climb into the high register, the bow needs to come closer to the bridge. This high E should be the note that people will remember. Eventually, the passage will sound like this. Breathe. Now we're at the A major section. Make sure the rhythm is right. In the first measure, you can solidify it without the grace note. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and a 1 and 4 and a 1. Now with the grace note. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and a 1. Light finger pressure for the shifts. legato dotted 8th and 16th note figures again. Singing. This passage needs to stay in the same tempo, not too fast. Do you recognize that this is just one big A major arpeggio? You can practice it in groups like this. And finally,